morning, everyone. We are live. Happy Monday. We are live from Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort. So excited to be here. Hey, Lynette, good morning. Yeah, Lynette's over at Saratoga Springs. We got some people in town, which is really nice. I don't know why I haven't streamed from here yet, but I'm so excited. It's a beautiful Monday morning. And we're just gonna go for a little stroll around Fort Wilderness. It's a lovely, lovely resort that I feel like I'm just totally in another world. Hanging out at the campgrounds. So excited to be here. But I want to thank you all for being here. And if you haven't already hit that like button, please do. Consider subscribing, turning on the bell for all notifications, and maybe even becoming a Patreon. And hopefully this link still works. learningwithlaw.com will take you right to my Patreon. Hey, Eric, good morning. Hey, Shamrock Turtle. Good morning, Lauren and chat. Happy Motivational Monday. Good morning, Mark. Welcome, welcome. I love this little sign for horse crossing. That's always fun. Good morning, WDW Stream Finder. Thanks for being here. Oh, we got some horses. Let's go check that out. Okay, I feel like whenever I'm here, I don't know if I see them in these stables here, but this is cool. Let's go check it out. Yes, it is a gorgeous morning. Oh, I can't really go past this. This is like the horse trail, but we'll stand here and kind of get a little glimpse of the horses. You can definitely smell them, but they're in there. So cool. We'll go see if the Tri-Circle D Ranch is open as well. That's further back in the resort. We can check that out. Hey, Andy. Good morning. We're just checking out some of the horses. Beautiful, beautiful morning here in Orlando, Florida. The sun is starting to rise already. It's getting like brighter earlier and earlier, and the days are getting longer. I love it. We're getting ready for summertime. But I want to thank you all for being here, and I acknowledge you for taking time out of your morning to start your day on a positive note, to reflect on the weekend, and, you know, just pat yourself on the back for taking time to do something for you today. You know, Monday for some people can be really crazy, overwhelming, stressful, but we're starting out the day on the right foot, and hopefully you learn something or something resonates with you and you just carry it through your day and your week and keeps you motivated. That's what my goal is for you. But I love seeing all these horses. This is super cool. I wish I could get a little bit closer, but that's okay. We're gonna go for a little walk. I haven't been here in quite some time, but I love going to the campgrounds. You just feel like the world slows down and you're back, like, I don't know, it's almost like you're a kid again, you know? So that's super fun. I'm really glad to be streaming here today. And we're gonna pick up kind of where we left off from the last stream, talking about The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. So we're gonna get into that a little bit too. I'll kind of recap for you what we talked about on the last Monday stream. But I just kind of want to take it all in first before we jump into that. And I also want to, welcome anyone that's new to the stream and just say, hey, you're welcome to be here. This is a judgment-free zone. Please feel free to, ask any questions in the chat, leave comments down below. We have a very friendly group of people that join in on the chat every Monday, so please, I hope you feel welcome. And for those that are returning, welcome back. Love that you're here. All right. This is what I need. I just need like some time in nature. I love it. Love being surrounded by all the trees and the greenery. This weekend was kind of crazy. I know there were a lot of people down here in Disney World, fans of my boyfriend Pete's channel, Adventures by Carney. They had a Carney crew meetup. Unfortunately, it was the same weekend as my girls' trip. So I got to see some people on Thursday night. But this weekend I spent some time with 9 other girls. So it was a 10 girls weekend getaway, which was super fun. And we all came back still loving each other, still friends. So I call that a success. When you have 10 girls with 10 different personalities, all in a confined space for 48 hours, doing everything together, things could happen, we all have our own idiosyncrasies, but we did have a great time together. So I'm happy to be back here in Florida, but it was so much fun. It was really eye-opening for me, and we can talk about that later as we get into the stream a little bit. But I had the best time. And if you're somebody that's waiting to take that trip, whether it's a girl's trip, a guy's trip, a family trip, a couple's vacation, whatever the case may be, go do it, because you know what? Life is too short. Take the trip, book the flight, and make those memories that are just priceless, This is definitely a trip I will never, ever forget. And I made so many memories, and I'm just so happy that I was able to, get together with these wonderful women, and we just had the best time. So I love it. I'm walking into this week just feeling really grateful and just happy about the past weekend, even though it was a lot. There was, pushed me out of my comfort zone a little bit, because I am very much introverted, and I like my alone time. I like my downtime. I didn't have really any of that. So for me, I learned so much, and I'm really proud of myself. I had some victories on this trip. So, and we'll get into that a little bit later. I don't want to just talk about the trip the entire time, but so excited. It was great. And Lynette is having a great time on your ABC trip. I love that. You're here during a great time for the weather. I know it's starting to get a lot hotter in the middle of the day, but it's not the summer heat yet. So you're here at a beautiful time. But I'm so excited to go for this walk. I feel like people are up and at 'em already. But the last time, like I said, we talked about Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now. And what we really focused on was, being present and talking about what your true self really is, creating that stillness, and just the idea of being enlightened, being present, and creating your own, I guess the word would be freedom, right? And freeing yourself from your compulsive thoughts. Like, we're all addicted to thinking, right? It's what goes on all day. And creating that stillness or that mindfulness, or if you want to think of it as a meditation, creating that space between your thoughts is so important in, coming back into your body, and being your true self. So we're going to talk more about that today. And just to recap a little bit more, that voice in your head that, you kind of identify with, is your conditioned mind, right? It's the result of your past history and your collective cultural mind or mindset that you've inherited. So whether you think that you identify with that mind or not, you are identifying with it, and just know that that's not who you are as a person, but it's what your mind has been conditioned to identify with. Got some birds, some loud birds. I don't know where they are, but they are awake this morning. All right. I love that they have the mixed recycling, we have the trash, we have the glass. Because we want to keep this resort nice and clean. All right. And what I love about this book too is they also talked about clock time versus psychological time. And we talked about that in another book. Which book was it? I think it was You Are the Universe. So I had, I think like 1 or 2 streams about that book as well. So if you want to check that out after this stream, but we're talking about like what the clock time is, or what society says time is, and your psychological time. So clock time has to do with like setting goals, learning from the past, taking action and planning. But when we are on this like clock time, we're not in the present moment. We're either thinking about what's to come in the future or what has already been done in the past. So if you dwell on a mistake, you have that self-criticism, remorse, and guilt, then you're making a mistake into, oh, it's just a squirrel. I was like, what is that very loud sound? Just a squirrel. Where did he go? Okay, I thought it was like a deer coming through. So loud. Okay. Sorry, threw me off. Then you are making a mistake into the me or mine. You're making it part of your sense of self. So if you're dwelling on any past quote unquote mistakes that you've made, or you feel guilty about something, you're internalizing that and putting that into the now and making that part of your identity, which it is not. So we got some campers out here, some inflatables. I love all the, like, Fort Wilderness is a whole vibe, right? They have their own culture in here, which I love. And Eckhart Tolle kind of talks a little bit more about, psychological time, and trying to, that kind of creates for you like this false sense of self, right? So that's kind of where, anxiety, tension, stress, worry, different forms of fear, that's where that kind of lies, is in that psychological time. Okay, so I truly have no idea where I'm going, so we're just gonna wing it. But I do want to get to the back of the resort where Hoop-de-Doo is, the Tri-Circle D Ranch. So let's see. Yeah, so I have to go like straight back. So we have a wilderness pool, the Meadow Trading Post, Pioneer Hall. Like, that's where I want to go. So we're gonna go right here. All right. I like these cute little signs too. Chippendale. Okay. Maybe we'll take this little trail because you know I love a little trail. All right. Then he talks about to be free of time is to be free of the psychological need of your past identity and your future fulfillment. So when you focus on the past and you're in that anxious state or you're feeling guilty about something, right? You're not in the present moment. And if you're thinking about the future, you're worrying about the future, or you're waiting for something good to happen, again, you're in focusing on the future, you're not in that present moment. Yes, peaceful as always. And the birds are very active this morning. They're having a grand old time. Something I thought that was really interesting too, and I've kind of learned this through my meditation. So I've been meditating now. When did I start? I want to say like maybe February I started. But yesterday was my 63rd consecutive day of meditating. But I've been doing it a little bit longer than that. But this kind of resonated with me, and it's something that came from the book as well. But if you cannot be present in even normal circumstances, meaning like sitting alone, walking in the woods, or even just like listening to somebody, you won't be able to be present when something quote unquote goes wrong or you're faced with difficult situations or people. So that is something that I found really interesting because I'm really trying to, in the meditations that I'm doing, trying to be more present, right? And usually that's when like things are going well. I'm having a good morning or I'm meditating after reading. So I'm generally going to be in that like positive mindset. Ooh, there's a cardinal. Wait. I don't know if you could see it, but it's right there. There's the cardinal. Super cool. And I think somebody's running behind me. So now I'm gonna move. And that's definitely a male cardinal because they are all red. The female cardinals are not as red. They almost look like they're like brown and red. But that's beautiful. Good morning, little cardinal. I don't know why he's on the ground. Oh. Yes, thank you, Lee. Yeah, quieting the mind is it's definitely a challenge. And I'm using a really great app. It's called, and I always forget the name of it because I don't think it has anything to do with meditation, the title of it. Yes, I think it's Insight Timer. And I always forget the name because I'm like, I just feel like it's not really like a timer, but it's great because it has all these different types of guided meditations that you can do. And you can kind of pick which type of meditation. Like there's one category just called meditation. There's another one that says deep breathing or breath work. There's another one that says manifestation. And another one is, what is it? I'm going to forget now. De-stress, I think. And then you can kind of figure out how much time you have. So you can sort it by like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 minutes. And it'll sort through all of these different meditations that you can do. And because I'm still kind of like new to it, I sort it that way. And I want my meditations to be guided because I think that's going to help me eventually get to a place where I can just do it on my own. But if you're somebody that's interested in kind of dabbling a little bit in meditating and you're not sure where to start, this is a great app. It's free. I think there is a paid version, but there are so many different meditations that you can do that are free. And I've looked into other apps and they don't have as many free like guided meditations, they always want you to sign up for like some sort of subscription or something like that. But this one, again, it's called Insight Timer. And they're not a sponsor or anything, but I'm just raving about them because I have not even needed to pay for this app in any way, shape, or form. But these people have created different guided meditations that you can use. And then the first week that you do it, there's like each day there's a different type of meditation that kind of teaches you how to do it, which I loved as well. So again, if you're somebody that's like, maybe I'll try it, I always recommend this app, but that is totally up to you. I just like when I have somebody telling me what to do. And it helps you, even if you're somebody that like, it's hard for you to quiet your mind, you're able to focus on what the person is saying and telling you what like to do. It makes it a little bit easier and you can focus on your breath and all that stuff. So highly recommend. So going back to the book, when you're able to practice that and things are going well and you're able to meditate and be in the present moment when things are good, when things kind of get a little bit more stressful or they quote unquote go wrong, then you're able to cope with that, right? So, going back to the trip, lots of personalities. I was with 9 women for 48 hours nonstop. We shared hotel rooms. We shared meals together. The downtime in between, because we really went to go work out at, we all work out together at Burn Boot Camp in Celebration. And we wanted to go to the headquarters in North Carolina at Lake Norman. So we did that, planned a trip around it. But, like you're bound to get on each other's nerves every once in a while, and especially if like tensions are high and you're not used to this environment and you don't have your alone time like me, but just kind of being able to be present and focus on the here and now, that really helped me to navigate through the weekend. Also, I don't drink anymore. So I was around a bunch of women that, not all of them, but most of them were drinking. So for me, it was like my first vacation not having alcohol. So that was another like test for me. But I'm really proud of myself for being able to just be in that setting and not have any desire to drink. And every morning that I woke up, guess what? I was not hungover. So I felt good in that way too. But just remembering everything that I read in this book and my meditations, which I kept up with as well during the trip, really helped me to just let things go and just go with the flow. And for those that know me personally, and I don't know if Andy's still here, but it's a little bit hard for me to just like let things go. But recently I've been trying to just go with the flow and enjoy every moment. So it was really great. And I think that this book has helped me. So happy about that. And going back to that too in the book, Eckhart Tolle talks about how you'll always be taken over by a reaction, right? If something triggers you, and those triggers are based on like your past things that have happened to you, things in your culture, right? But your first reaction is to be taken over by reaction. Those challenges are your tests, right? So you want to become aware of it in the moment so that you're able to kind of pivot and not be as reactionary. And this I thought was interesting too, because I catch myself doing this sometimes, just like everyone, but Eckhart Tolle said to complain is always non-acceptance of what is, right? Ooh, oh, cute. I think I have somebody, okay. So, sorry, I'm reading the chat now. Lynette, when I didn't drink, it was always fun to watch the drinkers. Fun is a word. Yeah. Fun is a word. It's interesting to watch the drinkers, that's for sure. But it's funny because when I was drinking, this is something that was like pretty eye-opening for me on the trip. Usually, like in the past, I would be the one to be like, hey, let's get a mimosa with breakfast. Let's, at lunch, I would ordering a cocktail, like let's get a drink by the pool, or, before dinner, let's pregame, let's have a whatever, happy hour. Like I was just thinking about all the times that I would have drank if I was a drinker. And it was very eye-opening for me to be like, wow, like I saved a ton of money. And also like, I just felt good. My body felt good the entire time. And, some other people on the trip couldn't say the same thing, right? And I just saw myself in some of them, like in the morning when they would wake up. I'm like, yep, I used to look like that when I drank in the morning, like hungover, not feeling well. But I was so happy and proud of myself that that was not me anymore. And there was no judgment to my friends doing that. They had a great time. But it just doesn't align with my lifestyle anymore. So, hey, Peaches. No worries. Thanks for being here. Thank you so much, Lee. And it's interesting because I appreciate that comment. Thank you. But it wasn't so much about like staying strong. Because like I said, this book that I read, by Alan Carr, the name of the book is not, I don't think I'm saying it right, but it's basically the easy way to quit drinking. Something about like quit drinking without willpower, something like that. It wasn't that I was even tempted to drink, quite honestly. So it wasn't even about me like staying strong. I felt like it was just like I didn't have any desire to drink. And that's what the book does. It like removes that desire. But yeah, so just like staying present in the moment, not relying on like past crutches that I've had of like drinking or freaking out in the moment, or getting myself all wound up. I was able to like kind of accept things for what they were, and not passing any like judgment or anything like that for the most part. But just being acceptant, like this is the way it is, and I can either just enjoy it or I can complain about it, which that's not fun. So going back to that, you can either change the situation by taking action, you could speak out, you can leave the situation, or accept it. Anything else is just going to be madness. And I love this takeaway. Eckhart Tolle talks about stress. And stress is basically being, quote unquote, here, but wanting to be, quote unquote, there, right? Or in other words, being in the present, but wanting to be in the future. That's what stress is. So if you just accept what is happening in the moment for what it is, you're going to eliminate your stress, right? Why are we stressing out? We should just either accept it, do something to change it, speak up. Well, that's it. Those are really your only options. Otherwise, you're going to create more stress. Hey, Lady Kirk, good morning. Overslept this morning. That's okay. It sounds like you needed some sleep. You are good. Peaches says, I think in my case, drinking often leads to extra anxiety. Yes, it does. I know that firsthand. I reached an age of hangxiety, which is like hangover anxiety, definitely, which is one of the many reasons why I wanted to stop drinking. The next day I would just be a ball of like anxiety, and I did not enjoy that. Yep, Peaches, sometimes I don't mind being the designated driver. Yep. It's a good feeling in the morning when you wake up being more hydrated than than the passengers. All right, so we're coming up to Pioneer Hall. That's where they do the Hoop-de-Doo review, which is one of my favorite things to do on property. Trails End Restaurant, Crockett's Tavern, Wilderness Arcade. We have the Settlement Trading Post, the Marina and Boat Rental, Boat Transportation, Cart and Bicycle Parking. And then to the right, we have Bike Barn Campsites, blah-de-blah-de-blah. So we're gonna keep going straight. Another cool takeaway is when you give attention to your behavior, to your reactions, your moods, your thoughts, your emotions, your fears, and desires as they occur in the present, you find yourself more by coming into the present moment. So like when you have that awareness of like, okay, I'm feeling this type of way, or ooh, like what am I doing right now? Like what are these actions? Do they align with my values, right? Having that awareness puts you in the present moment. So I don't know, I have mixed feelings about the construction that they're doing here because like why are we doing this? This is a campsite. And right behind Pioneer Hall, they're doing tons of construction. Let's take a look at that. I feel like it just takes away from the vibe of campsites. If you have not been to Hoop-de-Doo, you gotta go. Next time you're in Disney, make those reservations. Like, it is so much fun. I really didn't think this construction was gonna be right behind Pioneer Hall. My goodness, it's like, oh, I don't know. It's kind of taken away from the whole thing for me. What are we doing with these cranes? Let's go around. Take a little look-see. Another hotel, I know. Like, why are we doing this? No. I mean, I don't know, maybe some people are excited, but me personally, I feel like it's gonna take away from the vibe that's here at the campgrounds, right? I don't know. And it's backed up against Pioneer Hall. It's so much closer than I thought it was going to be. So, good morning, ghost host. Yeah, so I mean, and it looks like it's gonna be at least 5 stories. So, oh, it's 10. It's gonna be 10? Get out of here. 10 stories? Yeah, Lynette, they need to take care of what they have. Saratoga is a mess. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I feel like we're just focusing on just building, and wow, Mark, I didn't even know that. That's gonna be tremendous. Wow. Well, let's enjoy the beauty that we have now and ignore the construction sounds behind us. We're gonna walk over to the dock over there and see, I don't know, I wanna like have a moment over there and maybe sit down, or the sunset is behind these trees here. Or the sunrise, sorry, what the heck am I saying? I do like these little rocking chairs though over here. That's always nice. Beautiful flowers. But there's so much beauty to this resort. I just don't want it to be you know, overshadowed by this 10-story, I didn't realize 10-story hotel. Changes. Something that I wrote down from this book too, just to pivot back. Good morning, Christina. Oh, Ghost Host is coming to the fort in August for 11 nights. Oh my goodness, that's super fun. Are you staying in a camper, or because some people stay in tents? Like, what are you going to be doing? What's your style? Okay, so in the book it says, while some may get relief from daily torture inflicted on them by their minds, because remember, like, our minds, we're addicted to thought. So like Eckhart Tolle says that our thoughts it's like a torturous process. Okay, so while some may get relief from daily torture inflicted on them by their minds via drugs, alcohol, and tranquilizers, they are prevented from generating enough conscious presence to rise above thought. So you're not able to be in the present moment and meditate if you are using drugs, alcohol, tranquilizers, like certain drugs and medication. And they're unable to find true liberation or true freedom. So just something to consider. Again, no judgment. But if you're doing those things to like cope, you're not really able to free your mind. It's just a false sense of freedom. Look at this. Look at this. Ghost Host, my RV is like a home. I love that. That's so awesome. Coming from Pennsylvania. 1,200 miles. That's so exciting. I'm excited for you. Beautiful sunrise. Oh my goodness. And they have these lovely boats that you can rent here too. We have a beautiful bird sunning itself over there. Let me try and zoom in so you can see it. Look at that bird. Just drying off. I'm gonna walk over on that side. We can get a better look at the sunrise. So gorgeous. I don't know why I haven't streamed here before. What the heck am I doing? So gorgeous with the sand. They got the little table and chairs. I think every time I've come here, honestly, it's been towards like the evening. So I never realized how big this area is. Wow. Oh, and I can't get in here, which I would really love to do and just kind of walk down the dock, but we'll go this way. Maybe get a seat over there and watch the sunrise. Walking in the sand. Getting away from the construction sounds. Another really cool takeaway from the book, right, is that your emotions that you feel kind of lead to your reactionary behaviors, right? And the way that you feel, and sometimes you just react based on emotions. But Eckhart Tolle says that an emotion has a very short lifespan, right? You feel that way and you can move on from it. But most people don't do that. They hold on to that emotion. But if you place your attention on feeling emotion, right? If you're actually able to be present and feel that emotion instead of like hiding it, masking it, drowning it, and you're able to check whether your mind is holding on to a grievance pattern, such as blame, self-pity, or resentment, that is feeding the emotion, right? So if you are upset about a situation, right? One of your friends says something to upset you and you feel some type of way, right? You're annoyed. You feel kind of frustrated, that emotion is something that is fleeting, right? It can last only a few seconds. But if you pair that with past events that have happened to you, you're now just feeding that emotion and you're not able to let it go, right? So just being aware and knowing, okay, this is a feeling that I have. That's okay to have this feeling. But now if I'm pairing it with other things that have happened to me in the past, it's going to make it grow and get bigger. And you're going to hold on to that, blame, self-pity, resentment, whatever the case may be. So he defines forgiveness as like relinquishing your grievance, and so to let go of grief. If you're able to find forgiveness, you're letting go of that grief. And it'll happen to you naturally once you realize that your grievance serves no purpose except to strengthen a false sense of self. This person said this to me or is doing this to me because I am not worthy of happiness, or because I can never, find a partner, or I am not strong enough, or whatever story you're creating in your mind about yourself is just being reinforced. And the moment you truly forgive, you have reclaimed your power from the mind. Beautiful, beautiful sunrise. Yes, Christina, Disney does have some great resorts. So beautiful. Like, you can come down here and just sit, take a moment, look out onto this beautiful lake, watch the sunrise. This is a good sunset spot. You can watch, I'm sure, see some of the fireworks over by the Magic Kingdom. Got some music, got some tunes in the back. We love that. But I like to do this every once in a while on a stream, so we're gonna just take a minute. I'm gonna stop talking. The music will still be there. But I wanna just take a minute of reflection, and I want you to kind of be present in this moment, either thinking about your breathing, being mindful of your breath, or setting an intention for the day of how you want your day to go or your week to go. I'll just give you a few seconds. You can look out on the sunrise, and then we'll be on our merry way. So just take a moment of reflection. So something that I wrote down about the power of now is when Eckhart Tolle wrote, "The mind cannot forgive. Only you can forgive." I don't know. Throw it in the chat. What do you think that means? Because I had to stop and think. What does that truly mean? Like, the mind cannot forgive. Only you can. The heck is he talking about? What do we think? Or if you don't want to throw it in the chat, that's okay. But think about it. Because he talks about, being free from your mind, what your true identity is. It's not the thoughts that you've created and held on to from the past. What do you think that means? The mind cannot forgive. Only you can forgive. Lynette says that's a tough one. So what I got from that one is, because he said many times in the book, right? You are not your thoughts. You are not the thoughts that you're replaying in your mind, because a lot of the thoughts that we have are repeated thoughts, whether they're positive or negative. And we talked a little bit about that on the last stream. Bill says you have the power to forgive. Your mind is neutral. I like that. So when you fully become present in your body and disconnect from the thoughts that you constantly identify with, only then are you able to have that forgiveness. And that's something that is challenging for a lot of people, because we identify with those thoughts, right? This person did this to me because they don't like me, or because they are backstabbers, or they, are fake or phony, right? We're passing that judgment, we're labeling, we're making assumptions, but we're not accepting things for what just are, right? We're not meeting people where they are in life. If we're at a different level, whether it's a higher or lower frequency, whatever the case may be, just recognizing that your thoughts that you have are not who you are. That's not your identity. Something that I love that I wrote down, I should have put a lot of stars next to this one, but the greatest catalyst for change in a relationship, so that could be any relationship, a friendship, relationship with a family member, a spouse, whatever the case may be. So the greatest catalyst for change in a relationship is complete acceptance of your partner, or the person that is in that relationship, as he or she is, without needing to judge or change them in any way. So when you accept the person for who they are and not wanting to change them, that is what's going to spark that change. True acceptance. So judgment is either to confuse someone's unconscious behavior with who they are, or to project your own unconsciousness into another person and mistake that for who they are. Wow. That one was mind-blowing for me. So I'll say it again because it's kind of a long thought. But judgment is either to confuse someone's unconscious behavior with who they are, or to project your own unconsciousness into another person and mistake that for who they are. Mic drop. I love that. So it's either your subconscious mind, like judging their behavior and mistaking that behavior with who the person is, or it's a projection of who you think they are because it's something that you see within yourself. Wowzers. So think about that every time you want to pass a judgment on someone. And what's interesting is when you have these like enlightenment moments, right? When you're able to recognize behaviors and thoughts, patterns, and things like that, that's you being enlightened. But your ego finds that threatening. Your ego's like, no. This doesn't align with how I've been, right? This doesn't align with my human nature. The ego needs problems, conflict, and quote unquote enemies to strengthen the sense of separateness on which the identity depends. So you have identified with these ways of being for so long that if you try and change it, you're like, ooh, that's not me. I can't, I'm not a morning person, so I can't get up early, or I'm not the type of person that is forgiving, right? Like if somebody wrongs me, then that's it. I'm done with that person. That's just who I am. But is it who you are? Or is that what your mind has conditioned you to believe? And an amazing quote that kind of is symbolic of all of that is, the light is too painful for someone who wants to remain in the darkness. I love that so much. So for some people, your light, or this positive spin on things, right? This lightness is too painful, too uncomfortable for those people that want to remain in the darkness. And it was funny because one of my friends told me the other day, I thought this was super interesting. She was not saying this to make me feel bad, but I asked her about a friend of mine, or really an acquaintance of mine, and I was asking, oh, how is so-and-so? I haven't seen her in a while. How is she doing? Because I know she struggled. She just moved from out of state here to Florida, and I was like, how's she doing? So we were talking about her a little bit, and she had said to me, she's like, so-and-so commented or said something about your Instagram posts and how they're too positive, and she was making fun of them. I was like, she was making fun of my Instagram stories because they were too positive? And she goes, yeah. She goes, she's having a rough time, so she just doesn't like your positive posts. And I was like, that is very interesting. I don't know what to say about that. But that's what kind of reminded me of the quote. Sometimes the light is too painful for someone who wants to remain in the darkness. She wants to remain in that darkness, and my positivity is just too painful for her. I guess they're putting I don't know what this is. Something that probably has to do with this hotel over here. But I just found that to be interesting. It's not something that even bothered me because I'm like, I'm not doing anything wrong. But I just found that to be interesting. I'm like, wow, never heard that one before. That's new. That is new. Another thing, victim identity is belief that the past is more powerful than the present. If you want to be stuck in that victim mentality, right? It means that your past is taken over. It's holding more control than the present moment. Lee says we don't see things the way they are. We often see them the way we are. Yep, 100%. And Lee says the light is too bright for her right now. I love that. Yes, right now. Maybe not a year from now, right? We're all growing, evolving, and changing. And my hope for her is that one day she will, decide to open up and be vulnerable and just kind of climb out of that negativity. Yes, Lynette, I think some people think positive people are faking it because they're miserable. That's a good point. Peaches says, back to your point about accepting people who they are. This is so true with spouses. Been married nearly 20 years now. I knew who he was when I married him, whether I agree with all his foibles or not. Yeah, you know who you married. You know who you got in a relationship with, who your friends are, who your family is. You don't get to choose your family. But it's your choice to accept them or not for who they are, right? And it doesn't mean that people are not going to change and grow. But just accepting them and showing them that love and compassion is a catalyst for change. And something else that I love from the book too, it's very noisy for campgrounds here. I was not expecting all these buses and construction and hammering. I'm like, what is happening? Let me get back to the birds. We're gonna head back this way. But Eckhart Tolle says, you are subjected to cynical nature and the law of all things. It's not quote unquote bad, it just is. Nothing is bad and nothing is good, it just is. I love this too, right? So he talks about like, again, nothing is bad, nothing is good. It just is what it is. And then he says, well, people have asked, like, growth is good, right? Growth is a positive thing. But he says growth is usually considered positive, but nothing can grow forever, right? Even growth can be a bad thing. Things cannot grow forever and ever and ever, right? There's going to be moments of plateau and reflection and whatever, right? So you can't say it's bad or good. It just is. I loved that. And he says, if growth were to be endless, it would become monotonous and destructive. And that's something I needed to hear. And this is, I found this so fascinating. It just reminds me of like yin and yang, right? There needs to be both like positives and negatives in the world. There needs to be opposites, right? Because one cannot exist without the other. I thought that was huge. He says, when you identify or derive your sense of self-worth and identify from external factors, could be achievement, could be people praising you, it makes it hard for you to accept the low cycles and allow them to be. So if you're relying on those external factors or validation or achievement, you can't accept the lows because you're not fully being present with the highs either. Here we go, we're back in nature. It's quieter over here. I need this. All right, so now stay with me on this point. Let's see if we can fully grasp this next revelation. So he says, ooh, it's a long truck. He says, all inner resistance is experienced as negativity, and all negativity is resistance. So I talked about this a little bit on the trip with my friends, but if you are in a state of conflict, like try and think about like what is making you feel that way. You're resisting something, right? If you don't accept things for what they are, you're creating that friction and that resistance. So all negativity is resistance. Negativity is unnatural. He says it's a psychic pollutant. I love that. There's a deep link between the poisoning and destruction of nature and the vast negativity that has accumulated in the collective human psyche. This was pretty cool because he starts to talk about like animals, right? How animals don't experience negativity. Like they can't, nothing is negative to animals. Things just are. So we are unnatural if we are focusing on things in a negative light. It's not a natural way of existing. I'm gonna cross over and get on that sidewalk over there. And this I thought was so interesting too, because for people that have pets, right? He says the only animals that may occasionally experience negativity or show signs of neurotic behavior are those that live in close personal contact with humans. So interesting. And that's like energy and vibes and things like that. So like you're rubbing off on your animal. So If you're wondering why your pets are acting a little cray-cray, you have to look at, like, what is your behavior? What are you doing? That's kind of throwing vibes on your pets. I thought that was so funny and interesting. And something that Eckhart Tolle said to kind of bring you back into the present moment, kind of like a little, not so much a mantra, but something to think if you're starting to spiral in your thoughts or if you're getting into a negative headspace. He says, attention, here and now, wake up. Something to kind of keep in the back of your mind, like, attention, here and now, wake up. Focus on the present. If you don't want negative energy, you can drop it and release it because it serves no purpose, right? When you catch yourself in that negative tailspin, attention, here and now, wake up. But, we're human. If you feel like in the moment you're like, I just can't drop it, let it go. You need to accept that it's there and take your attention into the feeling. Why can't I drop it? What are my feelings? What am I experiencing now in this moment? And when you bring your attention to that, instead of drowning it in alcohol, in overeating, in overspending, in medication, things like that, you're able to process those feelings instead of just pushing it over to the side or burying it deep where it will eventually come out. Who Dat Dave says, go get back to the peace and quiet of New York City, perhaps? No. Yes, Lynette, that is a good phrase. I like that. I love his definition of surrender. It's yielding to rather than opposing the flow of life. You're yielding to it. You're not causing friction. Oh, there's a rabbit. I don't want to scare it away, but we're going that way. He says there is no resistance to emotional negativity. You accept the isness of this moment, and then you can take action, right? If you know something is happening, you don't like it, you want it to change. Ooh, blue jay. Oh, it just flew away. No. Wait, let's see. It's up in the tree. Up in the tree. I don't think you could see it. Oh. Too many cars. Okay. It was a beautiful blue jay. I don't know if we caught him on the stream, but... This I love too. So we talked earlier about like resistance, right? If you're resisting things or not accepting things for what is, right, it's causing that conflict, it's causing that friction. So resistance is weakness and fear masquerading as strength. Whoa. You might think that you're strong in resisting certain things, but it's really just your fear masking itself as strength. I'm going to leave you with these last two sentences from the book. There's like so much in this book. I highly suggest you pick up a copy. I don't get any sort of sponsorship from this book, but I am just saying this is a book that I'm going to go back to and reread again, because it was the most profound book I think I've ever read, honestly. I've learned so much, and so much that I can't fit on 10 note cards. But the final two thoughts I'll leave you with is: nobody chooses dysfunction, conflict, and pain. They happen because there is not enough presence in you to dissolve the past, right? It's all a result of not being present in the moment. And the conditioned mind is running your life. So those thoughts, those automatic negative thoughts, those thoughts that we have repeated in our brains and we've come to take as fact or take as truth, it's ruining and running your life, right? It's dictating who you're identifying with, and that's not really who you are. I love it. Food for thought. But I really, truly enjoyed reading this book. There's so much more that I feel like I could have shared with you, but it's hard to get it all in. Also, I feel like, again, they're little snippets of information. Reading the book is more of a journey. This is like the very abbreviated Cliff Notes version of that. But Eckhart Tolle really dives deep into different terminology that I have used in my like Cliff Notes versions of it. So if there are things that were confusing to you, or it didn't really fully resonate because it didn't make sense, or you couldn't like fully understand the concepts, but it's something, cardinal again. I really encourage you to pick up the book, because he will definitely dive deeper into that, into those concepts. Seeing so many birds today. It's just so beautiful and peaceful. And I smell all the greenery, the grass, the trees. It's like, so refreshing. Lynette says, I have been more aware of negative thoughts and have been able to reflect in my mind. I love that so much. Love it, love it. Lynette, tell me, are you able to then change the way that you're thinking, or maybe understand the emotion that you have in the moment? Or what are you doing once you become aware of those negative thoughts? What's your next move? What's your next action? Because I love that, because awareness leads to that action, right? Awareness leads to change. Because if we're unaware, we can't change what we're doing. So if you're someone that has never been to Hoop-Dee-Doo and you want to definitely make reservations for that, you don't have to walk like I did all the way to the back of the resort, especially if you have kids or a large family. They do have buses that will take you from the front of the resort to the back. But honestly, if you have time and you have people that are able to do some walking, it is a beautiful, beautiful walk, no matter what time of day. So I love it. And then here's the directory. So this shows you how large this resort is. I didn't even cover a fraction of the resort. But we started here at the reception outpost. That's where we started. Went all the way here. It says you are here, but we went all the way up here. But again, there's so many things. And we kind of came down here by the Tri-Circle D Ranch. And then I think we cut over here somehow. But yeah, I kind of took the main route But again, there's so many other spots that you can branch out and see. Shamrock Turtle says, thanks for sharing this book, Law. I'm reading it again. Thank you for the stream. Make it a blessed week, everybody. I'm so glad you're reading it again. Izzo is in Japan. Amazing. I hope you're enjoying it. Izzo, how long are you going to be there for? That's so exciting. Lynette says, I just say in my mind, this is a negative thought you've had before. Ooh, take a deep breath and stay in. What was the rest of that? But I love that you're able to recognize that, like, this is negative. I've had this thought before, right? And stay in the moment. Love that so much. Amazing. Proud of you. That's so great. Give yourself a pat on the back. So I cannot believe April is almost over. This month has been crazy. So we're at the end of April. We're going to be starting May. What is it, on Thursday? Oh my gosh. So I am going to be doing my 30-minute group coaching call in May. I have to figure out which Monday evening we're going to do for that one. But if you're a Patreon, be on the lookout because I'm going to put out a little notice for that. If you're not a Patreon and want some, either individual one-on-one coaching, if you want some group coaching, reach out to me. My email address is in the description below. You can check that out. Or if you want to become a Patreon, that's great too. You can go to learningwithlaw.com or patreon.com/learningwithlaw. I also do tutor students in English, reading and writing. And I do that virtually. So if you know somebody that would like to be tutored in reading or writing, send me an email as well. Look how beautiful the sun is in between the trees. Captain Kirk says, hello, sorry, I'm late this morning. Caught up on some sleep. No worries. You've been partying too hard, Captain Kirk. I think that's what's happening. You're having a great time. I love it. Lynette says, you have been a great influence. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. But you know what? I can influence you, but you're doing the work. So be proud of that. I think I'm going to cross over and try and get on the sidewalk over there. This resort is definitely waking up. We are in full swing. Got some buses coming in here, people driving in. It is a beautiful Monday. The weather is absolutely gorgeous. Ooh, I'm just scaring away all the birds. Got some mourning doves. I'm excited for this week. May is my birthday month, so I always love May. Just a little bias. But that's always a beautiful month weather-wise too. I feel like regardless of where you are located in the country, it's just a beautiful weather month. I'm just like trekking through these woods here. It's fine. All right. But I want to thank you all so much for being here. I want to come back to this resort and do another live stream real soon, but I'm always open for suggestions. So if you, after the stream, would like to leave a suggestion of where you want to see me stream next, leave it in the comments. Again, after the stream has finished going live so I can see it, because I'm not going to remember all of the live chat, but leave it down below. And if you want to also share something that resonated with you from this book, I feel like there's so many small nuggets of information that you can just carry with you. You don't have to remember everything, but even if you just have one thing that you said, I kind of like the sound of that, or this reminds me of something, or even if you want to share it with somebody like, hey, I think this person really needs to hear this. Share the stream for sure. But leave a comment down below. I want to know what sticks with you guys. And for next week, I'm going to be talking about a book on happiness that I'm currently reading. I'm so excited to share that with you. Kind of talks about different countries and cultures and how their take on happiness and what they do to bring themselves happiness. And there are 6 components or 6 different, I would say, areas that we focus on with the idea of happiness. Mark says, thank you for a great walk and talk. You are so welcome. Captain Kirk, thank you, Lauren. I will definitely rewatch. Your streams are always amazing. Thank you so much. Thanks, Bill. Thanks for being here. But I just want to say thank you all so much for being here. You know what? You're here for a reason, because, I mean, you wouldn't be here if you weren't supposed to be here. So thank you for being here. Thank you for hitting that like button, subscribing, and also possibly becoming a Patreon. Appreciate you. WDW Streamfinder says, thank you again for such a peaceful start to the day and week. Thank you for being here. Give yourself a pat on the back. You started your week out strong. You started your week out on a positive note. I appreciate you. But again, make sure you leave a comment down below. Let me know where you'd like to see me stream again next Monday. Thank you so much. I hope you all have an amazing week. Get out there, crush those goals, and be mindful. Be in the present moment. All right, I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.